All right, folks, with us on the phone out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the leader of the fucking Polycole. We got the American Traction, MB. How you doing, MB?
I am great. How are you guys?
Oh, not too bad. How are you surviving the coronavirus?
Oh, I'm quarantining and I'm making Twitter content and I am, trying to stay as relevant as possible. How are you guys?
We're doing good. I'm essential, so I guess that
good,
helps.
good, good,
Get to
good,
go to
good.
work.
Love to
Um,
hear it.
I bet that's pretty tough on you, though. I mean, because this is what you do, right?
Yeah, I guess like I have more time to make content, but less time to actually wrestle. So like I've definitely like done a good job of like gaining traction, but I feel like not as much traction as I would have had if like I had WrestleMania week or like other to promote myself, because it's always easier to promote yourself in front of a crowd of people than it is to try to grab attention with content on the internet. So it's definitely
Absolutely.
frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that. So unfortunately, yeah, I mean, we can't even like promote any shows, really. I mean,
Mm-mm.
because you probably don't even know the next time you're going to be able to do anything, huh?
No, I was literally cutting a promo about moisturizing your face regularly the other day. So it's not like I don't have anyone to yell at or call a little bitch right now or anything like that. So I'm just kind of, trying to make stuff up as much as I can.
I understand.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's just a weird time to be alive in general, really.
definitely.
Mania was so weird this year.
Yeah. It's definitely been like a very crazy 2020 that was like very promising to begin with.
Mhm.
It was supposed to be my first like actually like booked up Mania week, and you know, and then also like a bunch of really cool. I was bringing the first no ring death match to Pittsburgh, and some other like New York City activities I had planned that just like aren't gonna be happening, or at least happening on time. So it's definitely a bummer.
Yeah, I had a lot of cool things planned too, and it was fixing to be a good year for me too. And so I work in the music business too, so a lot of my music stuff just fell apart too. So I
Yeah.
understand. It's kind of the same an entertainment business in the same sense, I guess. I mean, different areas
If
of
you work
of
in
it,
live
but
events, your business has been fucked. That's for
mm,
sure. Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, so we'll quit talking about this shit that's bumming us out, and we'll try to move into some better stuff. So yeah, that's we did a little research on you, and we noticed that you got trained by Larry Zabisco and Scott Hall.
Yes, I did. That's yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
When I was when I was 18, right after I graduated high school, I moved to Florida and I trained at their school for a year. Um, but there's overall many shady characters at that school, so I definitely left after a year, and kind of like moved back to Pittsburgh and kind of like started doing my own. I was still training, but just like people I trained under in Pittsburgh were great too, but they weren't WWE Hall of Famers. But I moved back and kind of started forming my own persona and things once I got to come back to my hometown.
Now, are you bouncing back and forth from Pittsburgh and Brooklyn, or
Well, so basically, okay, so basically, I had moved out of my apartment in Brooklyn in October back to Pittsburgh, and that was just, it is temporary. It was temporary, and like it was kind of like, I think I was supposed to move back officially like a month ago, but Corona, uh, and really like I love Pittsburgh, but New York is kind of like where I feel like I'm meant to be, because like the other that I do things in and whatever, it's just like an entertainment hub. So actually, I am officially moving to New York in 3 weeks.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So it was just took like 2 months longer than it was originally supposed to. But yeah, I was in Brooklyn for almost 3 years, and then yeah, I'm going back. It's just kind of where my heart is at this point.
Well,
little bit more accepting of the all inclusive.
Oh yeah,
in New York, obviously compared to Pittsburgh.
I would say yeah. That's a huge thing. It's just much more. I'm much more content being myself there than in Pittsburgh. Even though like Pittsburgh made me for sure, and like definitely is like a large part of my personality. But at the end of the day, it's not New York, and like it's not the thing. The things that I do in New York aren't going to work in Pittsburgh ever, and I don't really care because Pittsburgh isn't a hub for entertainment either way. So it's just like,
Right.
yeah, doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's it's a unique town, man.
Yeah, I mean, like it definitely has like people here. I mean, it's not like not progressive. It's not. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not that there isn't unprogressive people here, but it's just kind of like progressive people surrounded by really people. Like it's more or less just like I feel like if it was like Philly is so big that the concentration of shitty people and suburbs around it are canceled out, but like Pittsburgh isn't that big, so like you still get a heavy concentration of shitty people.
Pittsburgh has a perception of that blue collar,
Right.
go to work each day,
For sure.
nose to the grindstone kind of thing, and not as like I said, not as open and as free as New York or Philadelphia.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like I did adopt that from Pittsburgh, but still like what you just said, the blue collar thing, but like also while being who I am. Like I definitely like develop work ethic and everything, but like their idea of just like what everyone has to be is very set in stone.
I'm from a small town in Eastern Oregon, and when you come out here, I mean, you've been to both sides of Oregon, so you kind of get it. Like it's like night and day on the east side compared to the west side.
Are you from Hermiston?
I'm from the area, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But over here, that's kind of where I don't want to get into politics, but it's kind of where all the conservatives are at, and so it's less progressive in a lot of ways. So I think
I've wrestled in downtown Portland and I've wrestled in Hermiston, so yeah, I get it. It's definitely a much different demographic.
Exactly.
I night and day.
Won the Hermiston demographic over. Despite them definitely being not my kind of people. So there's that.
Yeah, but that's kind of how I feel about it here. Progressive people, and I think it's made me a lot more progressive. But I think it's the fact that everybody, like, there's so many people here that just piss me off in that sense.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like more noticeable.
Just me, basically. Like, I don't like with all just being completely transparent. Like, I do not really have the income to be living in New York because it's very expensive. But it's just like a kind of like a trade-off of like live check to check and kind of like work towards possibly one day living much more comfortably through wrestling and be happy with who I'm around, or do it while miserable not being happy who I'm around. So that's kind of like why I made that a big reason why I've made that decision.
Yeah, I can understand that. Tim, you want to roll into some?
Yeah, I got a couple questions for you. Okay. So, given your gimmick with the leader of the poly cult, how receptive has that been in the wrestling communities you've been? I mean, is it back like, the old days where you've been booed out of arenas, or has everybody been very accepting of that?
Are we fans or like my coworker, like my peers?
I'm talking fans, peers, okay. Kind of everything.
So I would say that like, okay, I guess I'll start with peers where like I kind of have like a weird dynamic where like, and like, I don't really care what a lot of people think about me, so I do call them out for it a lot on Twitter, where it's like I have a lot of people that are whispering to me how good my gimmick is, like in locker rooms, but aren't really going out of their way to promote it. And like, not I'm not talking about fans, because everyone in my the polycult fans are like amazing, but like there's a lot of wrestlers that I can think of that come up to me and literally will say how good the gimmick is and how much they wish they would have thought of it or something like that. But yet like these people kind of like ignore my posts, or like just like kind of don't really go out of their way to promote at all. And I mean, so to me, like it's kind of like good in that like I've made really good friends and like Effie and Danhausen, and they definitely like those guys I can lean on. Like they, Danhausen messaged me today and was just like, yo, like you're doing so good with that shit, man. Like I'm proud of you. And like that means a lot to me, because that's a guy that kind of has gone over the same way I have, but just like really doing it. Like obviously without, we all know that he's very close to being on TV. And
yeah, I watched that Polycult 666.9 like 3 or 4 times today.
Right. That was actually so interesting, because I was literally, someone had just liked it. It was from January, like, so like I forgot it existed. I was literally quote tweeting it like I haven't talked to Danhausen in a while. And I was like quote tweeting it saying, oh, someone just reminded MB that this happened. And he literally DM'd me as it was happening, being like, yo, how have you been, man? Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, it's been you've been doing so good. And I was like, whoa, this is so crazy. Like, someone just liked our video. Like, I was just about to tweet it right now. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, and then I just put it back out there, and it's like actually like it got like almost 300 likes originally, but now it's like circulating again as if I had just posted it. So that's nice. It was like it's been a nice little bump in that sense. But yeah, I have the people. I would say that there's people like there's more people than just effing Dan House. People that if you're talking about people that and Casanova Valentine, people that I actively that I talk to a lot, like Casanova Valentine and Effie, I actively talk to almost every single day. And Danhausen more so, he kind of checks in, but he also has a wife. He's like, but it's like we respect each other. But it's for peers, like a lot of people compliment it. A lot of people want me to make content with them, and I don't really know how they feel about it. No one's like gone out of their way to like make me feel bad about it. But as far as the fans go, I mean, I'd say great. I mean, I think that like the other day I put out a tweet where I was like, there's a difference between having a lot of Twitter followers and having an actual following. There's people that are like very dedicated to what I say, pretty much no matter what I say. Like, and like, obviously, I know that there's a line to cross because I know that there's like some influence there now, and it's kind of like, but like there's people, I have people literally transcribing the rules, the polycult rules.
There's a guy from Seattle that I saw, like that's his Twitter link or whatever is all the polycult rules, and I was reading through it today. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, and like kind of like it's kind of just like a polycult. I don't know what the interpretation that how it comes through to people, but to me, it was a really good way to make sure that I put content out if I don't have someone to cut a promo on, or like a lot of times, like this is not a diss to literally anyone, but I work for a lot of really big promotions. I'm kind of getting over from being myself on the internet. So like I don't have a lot of people that I wrestle that it's worth me putting a promo out for because they don't know who the fuck I'm talking about. So me coming up with a concept like rules gives me an excuse to get in front of a camera and talk whenever I want, really.
And you do look good in front of that ring light.
Thank you. Yeah. And like the ring light was also like very spur of the moment, and it just worked, and people were like, you got to keep doing that. So I kept doing it. And I don't like have a list of roles that I haven't made yet. It's very, very random, and it's kind of like literally like sometimes I'll go with like what is the vibe of wrestling Twitter on that day, and I'll make a role based around that because trying to stay current, and also like trying to have something to say and put a character to people, so when I finally do debut for people or whatever, there's a character for them to get behind. And I feel like people, that's helping fans like really have a concept to latch to rather than, oh, that guy's a wrestler or whatever, like, because of course wrestling is important, and I do love the technical aspect of.
I'd say you're good at that too.
yeah. No, like I was actually this is all someone else said to me today, or no, not someone. I was watching. Someone was live streaming a show that I did on Fight TV a few months ago last night on Twitch, and they said something about loving how I do this gimmick outside the ring, but it's like very puro Japanese when I'm in the ring.
That was that synergy.
Synergy
feed. Yeah, okay, yeah, I watched a little bit of that.
Yeah, so like, and that's just kind of like, I don't see myself ever complete. I do like the gimmick. Like the gimmick has definitely come to play much more when I'm in the ring, especially like no ring death matches. But like, I still like obsessively watch Japanese wrestling. So like, that's how I'm going to wrestle. Like no matter what happens, like, no matter where my gimmick goes, like I'm going to wrestle how I want to wrestle despite what my gimmick is. Now I might do some more flamboyant things. I might hump someone's face and then German suplex them or something like that, but I'm not going to like get away from what I do as a wrestler because that's like to wrestle.
Right.
Yeah.
Atomic plunger.
Oh yes, the atomic plunge. Oh my, that was so random too, and it just like blew up, and freaking Jim Cornette fans came after me. Like it was so. I do so much shit that I don't even like think is gonna have any kind of reaction, and it just goes crazy. Like it's so funny to me, like what works and doesn't work. You never know.
Right.
But yeah.
So given the current state, I know you and Aaron touched about COVID and all this and that. Are you watching any of the national product that's still trying to keep things going?
I don't watch WWE. I watched WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I watched both nights of WrestleMania.
It's hard to sit through.
Yeah. I just don't like WWE, and I just can't really attach myself to it at all.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I watch it, especially now that we're doing the podcast, but and it's sad because it's really, I think we all grew up WWE fans, so it's sad that the product's so shitty.
Yeah, I mean, it's more to me. What's sad is that a lot of the guys that were at the top of the food chain whenever I started the indies that I looked up to are in the WWE now, and it's really. I mean, I don't know. Am I sad for them because they're rich? But also
yeah.
But also it's that you do. I always say that there's no one on this planet that does indie wrestling that doesn't love indie wrestling, because you wouldn't subject yourself to that lifestyle if you love pro wrestling. And
yeah,
it's kind of like to me watching, and I don't know, there's a few people I know in WWE, but there's no one that I'm close personal friends with. But to me, watching the people that were in the indies when I started in WWE now, it's kind of like watching a caged lion, because they take so much away from you, and they take so much, and that's why I do watch AEW, because I'm really good friends with Sonny, and I want them to succeed, and also I like that I have friends that are going to AEW, and it's just kind of I want it to I want there to be real competition, because I just think WWE's the shits, and but
there was AEW for a month or so too.
And that's the thing, I don't watch it. I feel like this is actually something I shouldn't say, but I don't really watch all of AEW. But I watch any match that Sonny's in. If there's another matchup that kind of appeals to me, I will do that. I think that I'll generally watch the pay-per-views. I don't think I've watched it since they went empty arena. I've just been watching older shit. But
they actually did pretty good, I think because they put people MJF in the crowd, which kind of really livens things way up.
Right. And to me, they're doing it different, and that's good. And I think that they will eventually catch up to WWE. But in my opinion, it's not that I watch, it's not even that I don't think that either is unwatchable, but it's just that I like what I like right now, and I don't really want to be influenced by other things either way. So it's just kind of when you get into a group of doing your own thing, I feel like it's harder to watch you don't really like. I respect all wrestling, obviously, but sometimes if I don't like a kind of wrestling, I'm just not going to watch it. So that's more.
I can understand that. Yeah, we were talking the other day, me and Tim were, and with all these WWE layoffs, I think it's probably going to be good for the whole wrestling community in a way, because there's a lot of good talent that got laid off that wasn't doing shit in WWE that other companies could utilize, I think.
I think someone else was, saying this, but I would definitely also like not all of them to go to AEW either.
Yeah, me either. It's I would like to see some of them go to MLW or Ring of Honor, New Japan.
Definitely. I mean, to me, the way I saw, I think that Rusev has to me, seeing Rusev in New Japan would be sick. I think he would do.
Yeah, and then we were talking about that too, because I don't think he'd do good in AEW right away. I think maybe later if the company gets a little bigger, but right now they're kind of in the same boat WWE is, where they've got a lot of wrestlers and not a lot of time to promote.
Honestly, I don't think any of those guys are going to get signed right now. Until this is over.
Yeah, definitely not during the pandemic.
Not until this is over, but yeah, man, that's shitty, because they're fucking money and stuff. But yeah, I feel I think some of those guys are going to go to Japan, and some are going to go to. I could even see Rusev in all Japan, somewhere in Japan, honestly. But yeah, I think that he's someone that could go on a tear out of nowhere and really become a hot sign for AEW once this shit's over.
I've always been a Rusev guy. I always hated how he was so close to getting somewhere in that company, and then they just that's what I hate about WWE is you watch these wrestlers that you really like and you really invest time in and then they just they build them up to where they're almost someplace, and then they just totally fucking give up on
right
it,
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's all, you know, and you know, I know how a lot of them look at it just like a job or whatever. Like I definitely feel like it's just like it's not worth me falling. It's hard for me to get invested in a wrestling storyline modern day, anyways, just because like I'm so submerged into the wrestling world, but also like yeah, I mean like just like what they do with their writing, I just cannot care.
So with that being said, talking about the national product, where do you think MV would fit in the national, landscape of things?
I feel like I don't know. I think that I still have a few more years on the Indies for sure.
Right.
I'm still very young comparatively. I mean, I guess I'm like Max's age, MJF's age, but like not,
Right.
I just feel like to me, like I don't want to go anywhere as like a prospect. I want to go somewhere as a name already. So it's kind of like if I could like do something like maybe like Ring of Honor or MLW, and then kind of like
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then kind of like segue into like a bigger deal when I went to. I'm not going to go to WWE. I'm just telling you. I talk way too much shit on them. There's no way I'm going to WWE. But
right. I don't think you ever should. I mean the gimmick, your current gimmick, and whether this is you, 100%, or if this is all a gimmick,
they would kill me. Yes,
they wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get it.
I mean, what is polyamory? That's what makes sense. So,
yeah.
But I think that. Yeah, I mean, I think the big picture. I don't like talking about any of this because, like, I also would like to like see if I can make a profitable life off of being an indie wrestler first. But I would say that big picture, it's going to have to be someone that's more accepting of who I am, like AEW, just because they signed Nyla and they signed Sunny, and I know they're flirting with other people that are in that community. So I feel like that gives me a better chance as well. And I just don't want to go. I don't want to be a token queer wrestler for WWE. Fuck that.
I totally get that. Now, somewhere where I've thought about, I haven't brought this up to Aaron, but somewhere I think it'd be really fun to see you at, but it's kind of a little bit more obscure, is over in DDT over in Japan.
I've talked about
because there's a lot of cool gimmicky stuff over there. Not saying that you're a gimmick, but I mean, your character would definitely fit into that world.
Absolutely. I mean, I've literally done spots before because I've literally like thought about like, oh yeah, this would be good to show DDT. I love them so much because they'll do like a really serious wrestling match, and then I'll do something so fucking stupid like a no ring in a crick. And I'm just like, dude, I want to wrestle Minoru Suzuki in a crick. Like that's so dumb, but I love it. So like that's that. I mean, yeah, that'd be. I mean, literally. I mean, honestly, I don't even know how I didn't say this when you asked your last question, but I want to go to Japan in the worst way. Like literally, that's kind of always been my goal, is to like at least do a year in Japan. And it's interesting to see how wrestling's changing and how an internet persona more so than who can get you over there. So that's kind of really what I'm gunning for. I'm 25. I would really like to do a year in Japan before I turn 30. And that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I definitely would subscribe to whatever network you company you ever went to.
Thank you so much.
Something else that popped up, and I kind of made this very formal little format, just stupid questions I want to ask. So if I kind of ping pong, my bad. But have you paid any attention to this new revival now becoming the Revolt, and then Caleb Conley, that being his tag team that he's been a part of for the last 5 years? Now, what is your kind of perspective on that? Is there like an unspoken wrestling rule that, hey, you don't steal our gimmick, or is it, hey, tough shit, you didn't trademark it, or what's your perspective on that?
My perspective is that happens to people so much you don't even realize it.
Right.
Literally the other day, sorry, I'm not to make this about myself, but just kind of like comparing it. Someone messaged me because I guess Britt Baker is doing roles now. Is that a thing on AEW?
Yeah. I think she has like two rules, or roles or rules or whatever. She's like two rules.
Her episode, she's doing like a role, like a dental hygiene role or something.
She's done one.
Okay.
One
someone
rule so
said.
far.
Someone texted me and said she's stealing my gimmick, and I said that's fucking stupid. She's not. But like, also, it can. What the threatening thing is that it can get misconstrued as to be that way because she's already a bigger name than me.
Right.
And to me, part of being an entertainer, and I think that wrestlers are more sensitive than other entertainers as someone who works in other fields of entertaining. There's always going to be someone that's going to make you have to change what you do. And it's just a fact of life that if someone gets on national television before you, they're going to have more power to take a likeness or a name if they want to. And that's just how it is. I'm not saying it's fair. I don't know if it's an unwritten code. Maybe if they were like on the same level, but the Revival was on TV for 3 years. So like, in my opinion, Caleb's not going to be able to, he's not going to win that argument because the next place Revival
I can't
on national TV too. So it's just like,
I can't imagine when you are on the road with the WWE either. You have a lot of time to fucking follow any other wrestling.
I seriously doubt that they're following anyone other than their friends. Now, I will say this. I do think that Caleb and Dash are from the same territory.
Yeah, they're from the Carolinas. So they had to have crossed paths.
There's probably something to that. But, I don't know any of those boys at all. But I'm assuming there is something to that. And, yeah, I mean, like, if someone started using something similar to my gimmick, I'd probably be like, yo, fuck you. But I wouldn't, if it was a TV guy, I just would have to adapt because that's just how it is.
Right.
So
yeah, I get that. So outside of obviously your hometown and in the New York area, where's been your favorite place to have wrestled before?
I'm not even saying this to schmooze, like literally the Northwest. I love the Northwest.
Yeah. Good.
Hermiston, Oregon.
I mean, literally, like, so where did I wrestle? So I wrestled in Hermiston, SeaTac, Seattle, and Portland.
Yeah, that DOA show.
Single one of those shows. There's never been a Northwest show where I've left like feeling disappointed. Not a single.
If you can get on with Defy, you should get on with Defy. They're a great company,
I feel like
and they're fucking really blowing up.
While, but I feel like the scene's grown so much that I don't even care. I mean, that's like people. I've made videos about this before where I say like I just don't. I understand why people want me to work for Defy because I appreciate that people want me to like do good. But like I feel like I'm doing shit my own way, and I don't really care who I work for because it's just like when I go to Northwest, like so when I did DOA in Portland, I had there were so many like MV Young fans there, and you're not going to call DOA an elite indie, but like who fucking cares? It's like to me, if I'm bringing people to in a show, that makes it important to me because like it's just at the end of the day, I think there's too much value attached to a brand and how they look at you. Like I love going to the Northwest because there's always a group of people that knows who I am when I'm there, and they're always hyped to see me. And if it doesn't work out to like where I can never like know the right people to get into Defy, I'm totally okay with it, and I'm totally fine with doing WAC and DOA and Prestige. And honestly, I think Williams' company is gonna blow the fuck up. So like,
yeah, he's working up really quick.
So I don't, and like me and Will have since I've started working for him have become great friends. So like I don't really, I'm not stressing about it. I'm working on my own. All I can do is make sure that I do as good as I can to make sure that the people that do want to book me want to keep booking me.
Yeah, I think the sexiness with you going to Defy would be, you know who Ravenous Randy
I've had
Myers
so many
is?
people pitch this match to me.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what everybody wants to see. They want to see MV and Randy go at it.
So many people have said that they want to see me like see what would happen if we were in a ring together.
Well, maybe you should pitch that to William because I mean, Defy wrestlers go to Prestige all the time. Might be easier to get them down to Prestige.
Yeah, I think that first off, that's part of the reason that I like Northwest so much is because y'all are weird as fuck and you're down for anything. You guys remind me so much of like anywhere I've been. Well, not Hermiston because obviously, but Portland and Seattle remind me so much of Brooklyn. And like I always tell Will that like I would totally live in Portland for like a little bit. Like,
oh yeah, they definitely have the same vibe.
I would totally could see myself living in Portland. If wrestling became a little more regular in the Pacific Northwest, I would definitely spend some time living in Portland.
It's getting there. There's a lot of promotions out here, man. You should have growing up here, it sucked because for a while WWE wouldn't even come here because he had to pee test to come wrestle here.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. Yeah.
So when I was a kid growing up as a wrestling fan, there was like nothing after fucking Portland wrestling went away.
I'm really glad it's doing well, and like that's like a very I would say this is like very long term thing, but I do think about it a lot. Is that if I got to the point to where I'd go to Japan regularly, that's a much cheaper flight. than from New York, and that if the Indies were hot enough that I could buzz around that general coast area and then go to Japan when I wanted to. That's definitely like that's how much I like the Northwest. Like that's an honest thought I've had, is that I would live in Portland and do that if it was a feasible income. But as of right now, you guys have like really cool shows, but not that often.
Right, they're once every
so
3
it's
months.
Yeah.
doable right now. Whereas in New York, like there's so much fucking wrestling in New York and Jersey.
The thing about being out here too is, as a musician, I have this problem, and I'm 100% sure wrestlers will have the same one, is that we're so fucking far away from everything.
Right.
Like when you're over in your area, you can drive to a whole new state.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and there's also
here everything is spread out.
There's also a higher concentration of people that get booked on the same shows as me, where we can either ride. I mean, honestly, like I'm starting to. There's no wrestling right now, but before this all was happening, I'm starting to actually get people pay for my flights and shit. So it's like different. But as of like a year ago, it was like getting a car with people. Not that I still don't, but it's definitely like a little different now, where I won't take a booking if it's me going by myself somewhere to a faraway place, unless they're paying for my train or flight. So it's a little different. And if I could get to that point, I guess I could live anywhere. But the Northwest is definitely like, the Idaho and then Montana. Yeah, there's not really much going there.
Then you hit Wyoming, where there's even fucking less, in Nebraska.
Oh my God, yeah, I don't even. Is there?
Well, William actually had a couple shows he got set up in western Montana and in eastern Washington. So William's trying to spread his wings a little bit too.
Cool to me. Like doing a one-off in Montana, I told him that. I was like, dude, like if you have room for that, give me that shit, because I want to go to Montana for no fucking reason. Like it's just like
Montana's awesome.
To say I wrestled in Montana. Like I don't even know, what is the major city of Montana even.
Missoula is probably the most well-known city, and it's like a little Portland or whatever. It definitely has a very
really
liberal vibe to it.
Oh, that's interesting. I would never even know that.
But like that's Missoula. Anything east of Missoula is very conservative.
I mean, that's just how Montana rolls off the tongue to me. Sounds real.
Yeah, I lived in Montana for 2 years after high school, so I kind of got the the kind of the hippie vibe in Missoula. But if I went out to one of the outside towns 20 miles away, it was definitely a conservative neck of the woods.
That's why I'm like jealous of like musicians like yourself, because like you guys get to go do stuff like. I mean, it's a lot easier for you to go like on a tour to Missoula and then like see that vibe and then go somewhere else where it's like kind of like I can only really go where there is wrestling. And it's like I feel like I miss out on a lot of cool shit because I don't get to like see these little, there's a lot of people in these Midwest, or I guess it's not Midwest. I don't know what you would call. Is Montana Northwest still?
Yes, kind of.
Northwest. We call it Big Sky
that
country.
Whole area, like I feel like were you in a hardcore band, Darren?
No, I'm actually in kind of an outlaw country band.
Really?
Yeah. So, which is, and it's not like mainstream country. There's like punk rock influences to it, kind of.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But nonetheless, you book tours.
Yeah. But the thing is,
a set than it is to set up a wrestling ring. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's totally easier. Yeah, when it comes to that, it's easier that you can just go to a bar and set up. But we do kind of go along, especially with what I do. We do really like cater to only like a niche group of so like, because I don't like really mainstream music all that much at all, and I don't really associate myself with it, so that's hard in that sense. But you're right, as far as setup goes, way easier than wrestling.
Yeah, and I mean,
and less expensive.
That's why I love No Ring so much, because it is to me much more punk rock and much more like easy and accessible. And to be honest with you, it actually pains me to say it because it's definitely not happening now. But me and Kat are working on like a countrywide like No Ring tour. Before all this happened, which is obviously much easier to do than a wrestling ring because you don't have to lug around a wrestling ring and set up a wrestling ring. And also, me and Cass are good friends and can do a no ring anywhere. But we were kind of going to do like a no ring, like we were talking about doing like a no ring as an opening act for like a hardcore band or some shit and like kind of touring the country. But yeah, that's going to have to be postponed as well too. So yeah. Let's
right on.
Yeah.
So last couple questions before we let you go. Favorite match you've had with all your 200 plus matches you've had so far.
Let's say favorite match. Can I have a no ring as a favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, anything.
So I did that New York Fashion Week in February, and that was my most favorite event I've ever been a part of. Mostly because I produced the whole event, but then like I don't even really I got really fucked up, like really cut up in a bad way, but like it was still like so rewarding. And then like that whole weekend was, so like I feel like there's with all the matches I had that weekend, so I feel like there's maybe more of a positive connotation around it than what it actually made me feel like. But as for like the match that I felt the best at ever after, I would say me versus Funny Bone, Halloween night.
Yeah.
We literally tore that shit up so hard, and like even like we had like a lot of like verified Twitter, like verified like media people that were like saying how good our match was.
Okay, yeah, I've tried to watch that match, but haven't been able to find it anywhere quite yet.
Yeah, I mean you'd have to buy.
It is on Fight. Okay.
$10, but yeah, if you want. Yeah, I mean the whole show was very very fun. But yeah, that's where that's at, and that's like probably one of my favorite matches ever. It's between that and both of my Tom Lawler matches each.
Yeah. Right on.
Okay. Yeah, Aaron, you were at
and I was at the one where he attacked him too.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, that's going way back. To me, it's hard to pick. I remember how I felt after both Tom Lawler matches, which was very good. But then shit progresses, so it's even harder.
And that's what really got me into you, actually. I mean, when you go to those shows, and I think Prestige actually does really well, because when first off, I was like, wow, there's a wrestling match in Hermiston. This is going to be random.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew William because I booked a spoken word tour for Jake the Snake, which was kind of a fucking train wreck, but we won't get into that. Anyways.
We got to that on the
that's
first
how
episode.
That's how I met William.
Okay.
And when I started following him, I was like, wow, this is cool. But when I went there, I had no idea what to expect, because, it'd been a while since I've been to any kind of independent wrestling. And and at that point in time, it was just kind of starting up around here. So I wasn't sure if they were going to be guys that look like me in sweatpants there. Or what.
So the one that I attacked Tom, that would have been like fucking 2017, right?
Yeah, I think that was the second one they did. And the first one, luckily, William was smart and put a bunch of indie wrestlers from Seattle in the crowd, so he got the crowd into it. Or else it would have been like fucking crickets. I was probably one of like 10 actual wrestling fans there.
The first one?
Yeah. But I started looking around and noticed all these independent wrestlers sitting in the crowd. And I was like, yeah. Then the next time, people were ready the next time, though.
Yeah, I mean, I read Julian White. Is that his name, Julian?
Yeah, he's good. Julian's good.
Yeah, Julian White.
I feel like he had a really good match. That's crazy that was so long ago now. But yeah, I remember that vividly. I remember like actually being very happy with that match at the time. So that was a good time.
Yeah, but when you go to those, I was going to say this though, like there's like a handful of guys that you really know are like special,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this guy, if any of these guys in this room is going to break, he's going to be one of them,
Wow. Well, thank you.
And I was actually more impressed with you than Tom at that point in time. I didn't actually become impressed with Tom until I started watching him on MLW. I don't know. He didn't grab me at that first show. The second show is better, but the first one, not so much.
I think Tom is literally working for the perfect company with MLW. I don't know. I feel like they play to his strengths very well in MLW. I think that's like the audience he needed to really like excel in my opinion. I don't know how he would do on a national television, but like, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that any show kind of has, you really like sit back and watch, like, who is this a hobby to and who is this a job to,
Yeah, and that's kind of what I felt too, because especially after you attacked him, he got up and he was like, who was that guy?
Yeah.
I'm like, motherfucker, like, I get that it's fake, but
yeah.
Like, play into the shit a little bit.
That's so funny. That was.
And the crowd started chanting, "Who's that guy?"
Yeah, that's really funny. Oh my god!
But it did frustrate me a bit, because I like to stick with kayfabe a little bit,
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Well, different times also. I feel like modern day Tom would probably acknowledge my existence more. So
Yeah. Me too. I think that at that point in time, he's pretty new into wrestling.
he was very new into wrestling, and then also like I was literally like a fucking nobody. Like I was like, that was like so. I mean, that was probably 2,000 Twitter followers ago. Like that was like, no one.
Well, you also seem like you really like toned up in like a year or so.
Yeah. My body, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have gone through some changes. It was just kind of like, so I'm trying to think. Whenever I attacked Tom, I feel like I was skinnier. I think I was like really skinny when I attacked Tom, to be honest with you, like for me. And then like I kind of like the show where I attacked Tom, and I kind of put on weight on purpose, and I got like really like kind of chubby but like beefy, like like a Rusev type, like a bigger bulk. And then the last like 11 months, I would say, like I've really focused on trimming my body down full time. And like from that time I spent being bulkier, like it's definitely like when I see pictures comparatively to where I was a few years ago, I was like, oh, I kind of look like a man now. So it's like a lot different. Yeah, definitely has been like a lot of focus on working. That's why, like, not to like, I told you I moved this back an hour. I was like, I have to, like, it's like very obsessive. Like, I have to work out, or like, it doesn't, I don't feel good about myself. So
Yeah.
You gotta keep on top of your game.
God,
Gotta
I know.
even
And that's
with
part
this
of the
crazy off time.
like not knowing what your next is like definitely makes it hard. But then you get into a groove with it. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of doing like a lot of fucking cardio. So.
Okay, and then last question for me: dream match. What is MV Young's dream match?
I have so many, but let me pick. I want to take this gimmick as far as it can go, and I want to wrestle motherfucking Minoru Suzuki with this gimmick. I want.
And just have a gnarly strong style match with them, or something
like
a little bit gimmicky, or what are you thinking?
I want Minoru Suzuki to beat my fucking ass, but I want to fight back, and then I just want to see if I get this over enough to what would happen. Hunt Minoru Suzuki's face, and like what the reaction would be to a man that dare do that to Minoru Suzuki. And like that's like what that's like all my dream matches are like people, because my whole thing is like I always call out this like masculinity bullshit because I think it's so overdone in wrestling. And like to me,
right.
But there's there are people that it works for, obviously, and Minoru is one of them. It's just like in others like these people that like what would the crowd think if this fucking little blonde boy humped like Minoru Suzuki's face, or like a Nick Gage, or like people that are like associated with being bad motherfuckers, and I just carelessly
Right.
and arrogantly do that, and I get to the point to where that's like the most over fucking thing that happens, and just like that's where I want it to get it to be. And then even if the payoff is almost certainly going to be them being ass, but it's so worth it. Like it's just like, and so like yes, at the top I'd say Minoru, but also like anyone that you would put in that like badass category, which is why I think Aaron, to your point, I think that like my matches with Tom work so well too, even though I wasn't this guy yet. So like I feel like the anti-masculine thing with like the MMA mix work really well.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. It's been a great interview. I want to thank you for coming on. But like I said, this is our second show, so thanks for dealing with all the technical difficulties. And yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited to have this. When Aaron's like, dude, we should do some interviews. He's like, I'm gonna try and get MV on here. And I was like, are you fucking serious? You're gonna try that? I was like go for it. I don't know if we're gonna have luck,
I'm so bad with my direct messages. Like honestly, like it's honestly like I always have to like go through randomly and see what I've missed. Sometimes I've missed like bookings that I could have gotten. But like I think that I was on Messenger when Aaron messaged me, and I think that's why it worked.
Yeah, I saw you got back to him within like less than 2 hours. It's like, oh wow.
Someone messaged me, And then I just like saw it there. I was like, yeah, it looks good. I mean, I haven't done a podcast in a while, so I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So I'm glad it worked out. Yeah.
Right on. Well, thanks again for coming on. After this, do you want to hold on for just a second and then give us?
Yeah, but
do you want to give us just like a quick sound bite?
Did you say that was the last of the questions you had for me?
Yeah. Yep, that's it. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, can you hear me right now?
Second, I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect.
I lost you for a sec.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you guys. It was like making a weird sound.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to add?
Do you did y'all say you had more questions for me?
No, that's it.
Oh, perfect.
No, that's all. Cool. That's all we had.
So yeah, thanks.
All right.
Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to stay on for just a sec so you can just give us a quick sound bite for our show later? Just like, hey, Zimby Young. And okay, lost him. Are you on there, Tim? All right. Well, we lost him. Oh well, that's good. I think that turned out good. I'm gonna have to edit a little bit of the ass end of it, but it turned out good.
Yeah, for some reason I think he couldn't.
I couldn't hear either one of you for a minute. So I'm wondering. My dog started freaking out, and Claire's trying to come home, and I'm trying to keep her from coming home because I think that's why the dogs are freaking out. So, hey, I'm gonna work on this. Thanks, man. It sounded good. You did really good. The one thing I can critique you on is like during the beginning of it, there was some awkward silence. And I say like next time we get a little bit of that, just nail them with a question.
Okay, that's I didn't want to I wasn't sure how much further you were going to go, and that's why I was waiting, and then I was like, okay.
When I say intro, it's like 3 sentences. All I wanted to do was that intro, the polycult. After that, I was like, come on, take over. This is awkward. So.
Okay, yeah, that's my fault. Yeah, I thought about it, but I was like, I didn't want to step on toes or anything.
All right, man. Thanks. We'll hook up tomorrow night.
All right, buddy.
Thanks.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
All right, later.